Hey, it's Sandy with Quilted Treasures and More. And did you happen to see my question that I asked when I posted earlier about going live? And the question was Christmas or fall? Now, I did fall last week, and I don't know why my camera is jumping so badly, but we may shrink it down here in a minute if it keeps getting stuck. But technology, what can we say? Fall or Christmas? So, did you pick one? Well, if you chose Christmas, then you would be correct. I actually have in front of me, it's a little hard to see because it's all been coated in white, but I actually have one that says Merry and Bright, and it actually has a Christmas tree cake here on the side of it. So that's what I'm going to be working on tonight. So I'm glad you are here to hang out with me as I get started on this. I'm going to make sure real quick that everything looks okay. I try to check everything just before I get going. That way, if anything weird comes up, or if I sit here for an hour and then realize that's weird, nothing's really going on, then I know it's, not technology, it's something on my end, or vice versa. It could be technology and nothing on my end. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and shrink that down because it keeps getting stuck, and that's always super frustrating to me. But this is the world we live in. Okay. I'm going to bring this down just a little bit. The camera's going to go for a ride, so just hang on just for a second. Try to get it just a little bit closer. Okay. All right, so now you can watch as I get things going. All right, so I'm going to start out with doing, and I may just go full screen with this. I'm going to start out by doing the background, and what I'm going to do the background in is Santa Red. So it's going to be a little bit darker than what you see come up on the Christmas tree later on, but I'm going to do the background in Santa Red. So I am going to find a, not the biggest brush I have. I'm going to use, I think this one, or no, not that one. Not that one. I've got a few brushes here that I actually rinsed out a little bit ago, so they're not in my container. They're actually here sitting beside me, kind of tucked under my door hanger here. So what has been going on this week around the crafting table? Well, we have, if you saw any of the stories that I posted, I've been working on some door hanger orders. I've been working on some group t-shirt orders. If you were watching last week or saw any of the posts, I had a Momster Halloween t-shirt design that was the t-shirt drop for the week. And so I'll be ordering those pre-orders this week, and then I'll be doing those. I've got another t-shirt drop coming up soon. Right now I'm doing tumblers. So last weekend was t-shirt drop, and this weekend is tumbler drop. I had a couple of new fall ones come in, and rather than spread them out, I wanted to get them all out there at once. So the two new fall tumblers are the group of gnomes. There's like 5 of them. And he has like a leaf and a pumpkin and a pie and a football and a latte, a pumpkin spice latte. So that was one of the new tumblers for the week. You know what? I'm just going to paint over this. It's going to mean that I have to do a little more work, but I'm just going to paint over this. And I actually am thinking about getting a different brush because, I don't know, I'll see in a minute. So the second fall tumbler was a Thankful, Grateful, Blessed tumbler. And That one was the second one that was brand new, but I put all of the fall tumblers on discount for the next several days. So you can get in on that discounted price for the fall tumblers. And yes, that does include our team tumblers, since that is primarily when we, especially in college football, think football is in the fall. So that includes the team tumblers as well. I still have coffee mugs available if you are looking for. Okay, let me backtrack because I had two trains of thought there and I split the track somehow. Let me try that again. I still have t-shirts and coffee mugs that are being featured at Knot Salon here in the Mobile area. If you live in or around Mobile, Alabama, they are located on Hillcrest, and they feature some of my t-shirts and door hangers. There's fall and Halloween door hangers there. There's coffee mugs. Let's see. Oh, off camera. I'm so sorry. I turned it around this way. I should have left it to the side. There's coffee mugs. I know I've got some Gnome Coffee Time coffee mugs there. And I believe some of my I Need Coffee to Focus, Hocus Pocus, mugs still there. There is one or two fall, just a girl who loves fall design mugs there, as well as the mug with the saying about the storm. What was that? Stronger than the storm, or the storm only makes you stronger, or something like that. I have to go back and look it up. I really liked that saying, and I actually thought about, what's bad is I see the mugs and I'm like, oh wow, I want that mug. And then I'm like, wait a minute, how many coffee mugs do I have in my cabinet right now? And I know sometimes it's like, oh, but you can never have too many coffee mugs. Well, when the cabinet becomes so full that you can't even close the door, you might have maybe one or two, just, more than you need. So, not judging, just something to think about there. And I will say that I actually have coffee mugs in two different cabinets, but and it's not like the whole cabinet is full of coffee mugs. Don't think that. It's actually just a couple of shelves in two different cabinets. It's kind of funny because I always kept the coffee mugs in one location. And then when I got the little coffee pot for the pods, I was like, man, this is crazy. I just need to put some coffee mugs right over the maker, the coffee maker. And then that way it's easier to get to. So that's how I ended up with coffee mugs in two different parts of my cabinets. But altogether, I only have, two shelves? 2 shelves or 3 shelves? Maybe 2 shelves of coffee mugs. The football and fall y'all t-shirts are still available for just a little bit longer at Knot Salon with while supplies last. The fall pumpkin is still available at Knot Salon. I am getting ready to add another t-shirt in this coming up week. So they'll be getting another t-shirt to put on display. And it won't be, but probably just, what, maybe another week or so, maybe a couple of weeks, and I'll be adding in some Christmas door hangers there. Still going to leave a few fall things because well, I say fall things. It's more like Thanksgiving style door hangers that I'll be probably adding in. To the group there. But the Halloween ones will be coming out soon, and I've already taken out a couple of things that, you know, it's just kind of past their time. So I've also got some door hangers and tumblers in Tennessee at a welcome center in Tennessee, in Coker Creek, Tennessee to be exact. A little gift shop up there. They carry some of my items. And right now they've got a lot of fall stuff because they have, of course, up there with the colors, fall, you know, is a big thing there. So there's fall stuff available there in the gift shop. All right, so I'm just about finished with the first coat. This is Santa Red that I'm putting on here, and it's our background color, and you can already see how the Christmas tree is beginning to stand out, our little Christmas cake. So what I'm going to do is just go back over this real quick, again with Santa Red. And then I will get started on our little Christmas tree. And you may be thinking, well, Sandy, you covered up the words. What in the world are you going to do to make them show up on top of that red? Well, there's a few little tricks you can do when you are going over colors like red or darker colors that will help with, because I want to do white letters. And I can already hear some of y'all going, what? You're going to be here for like the next 3 days trying to get white to go over that red. There's a few little tips and tricks that you can do and try. And, you know, sometimes they work out great. Sometimes you're thinking, okay, well, you know, try again. So we're going to see how it works out tonight. So I am just going over my Santa Red background one more time. And then what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to put polka dots on this, and I'm trying to remember what color I used for the polka dots. I actually may have taken Santa Red and just added some white to lighten it up a little bit. I'm trying to remember exactly what I did. It's been a little while since I've done one of these, but these were so much fun. And I never did do one on the live last year, but I did have quite a few of these that were ordered. Because these little Christmas trees are, you know, they're like a big thing. I didn't realize how, you know, how popular they were until last year. And it was like all of a sudden shirts and jewelry and Oh my goodness. Matter of fact, I've got a shirt. Yep, I jumped on the bandwagon. I got a shirt. I do have earrings. I made myself a pair of earrings for the little Christmas trees. So, yep, I jumped on the bandwagon. But I mean, it was so cute, and hey, I'm all about desserts and food and things. So, Matter of fact, I even caught a picture of me eating. I had to find them last year. I was like, oh my goodness, I got to find them and get them. So, yeah, it was kind of a thing to see which stores had them in stock. And so it was kind of funny, though, because just north of Mobile, it was a big to do. And then here in Mobile, it was kind of like you either knew about it or you didn't know about it. And if you knew about it, then you were like, yeah. And if you didn't know about it, you were like, what? So I don't know. I decided I'd do this again this year because I'm like, okay, sometimes we're like a season behind for whatever reason. And so I'm like, okay, I'll do it. I'm going to do another one this year and have it available because, like I said, I had several. I did several of these last year. So it was pretty fun. I enjoyed doing them. And like I said, I ended up jumping on the bandwagon. And like I said, I have a shirt and earrings. And a necklace. I forgot. I have a necklace too. So I'm keeping an eye out to see how many stores start with the shirts and stuff, because that's been a thing. And of course, with me doing t-shirts, I'm gonna look around and see what designs I can find. Who knows? I may even throw in a fan special, maybe earrings, t-shirt, and a door hanger. Put them all together, make a package deal. May try that out. Probably would have been cool last year because, like I said, I had a few of these that I did for some pretty big fans of the Christmas tree cakes. So I'll have some of these when I hit festivals and stuff. And of course, I'll probably put some out in the shop locations where I'm featured. Okay, so now that I've got the back done, what I'm going to do is I am going to grab one of my sponge pouncers here. Let's see, what size do I want to use? I don't. I don't think I want to go that big. That's a really big sponge pouncer. Okay, that's a really big circle. Here's the bottom of the paint. Okay, so that's more like, a paint bottle. That's the bottom of my paint bottle. This is like huge, but it's a fun sponge pouncer. Don't ask me why that was hard to say. To use on kind of really whimsical and big door hangers. So I have used that one before, believe it or not. All right, I need to dry this just a fuzz. So I'm going to get out the little dryer here. And while I'm doing that, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lighten up. I can't remember if I went darker. I may have used the crimson on this last year. I'll have to see if I can find, let me see if I can find a picture real quick and remind myself. While I'm drying this, I can look through pictures and see if I can jar my memory here on what I did. Hopefully this will be nice and dry by the time I find it and look at it. Oh, there it is. I did one. Oh, I did one with green letters, and then I did one with white letters. Ooh, I did little polka dots around the edge. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, I did do darker. Okay, so I probably did the crimson. All right, so we'll do the crimson. All right, I'm going to flip this around. Go at it from a different direction just for a minute. I think it's almost ready. I just want to make sure it's good and ready before I hit it with the crimson. All right, I'm going to put that down there so I can pull it back up later if I need to. So I've done this one a couple of different ways. I had forgot about that. I've done it where I had green lettering, and then I've done it where I had white lettering. I've had little just squiggle lines around the edge, and I've also had smaller white polka dots around the edge. So either way. All right, let's grab the lid here. It's probably going to be a lot easier to work with my, well, I don't know. Oh, it will fit in there. Hey, sweet. We'll save the, oh, well, we'll add burgundy next to it. I was just trying to think, well, if I do that though, it's all good. We'll add burgundy next to it. And we'll add some burgundy polka dots. The nice thing about doing this in like an egg carton or even in the lid of an egg carton is that you can use the sides and scrape off the excess, and then it runs back down in the bottom. All right, so I'm just going to pick a spot, and I am just going to place my sponge pouncer down, give it a little twist, and pick straight up. And I'm not going to do these really close together. I'm going to kind of place them sort of far apart. And I'm just working in a triangle kind of pattern. So here's 3, here's 3, here's 3, here's 3, here's 3. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just working around. And some of them won't be perfectly on. They'll kind of be off the edge. And that's cool because it gives it a really neat look. Some of them will be literally right on the edge. So like I said, I'm not really trying to keep them like measurement apart, but I don't want them to be right on top of each other either. So I'm just kind of eyeballing and going with that. Now this one's funny because it's going to end up coming from 2 different ways, which is kind of neat. I'm going to think on that one a minute. So I'm just working my way around. Getting some polka dots on. So you can kind of, if you hit a spot where you're like, okay, I don't really know where this polka dot needs to go, you can kind of do the imaginary line kind of thing. So I imagine where I would put one polka dot. I'll set that off for a second. Imagine where I would put one polka dot, maybe right out in here. And then from there, I'd come over and that really wasn't going to land anywhere where I can use it. So I just kind of pick a point out here and go, okay, well, we're going to put that one there. And then I can come back and I can put some where they look like they run underneath the tree. But I am going to need a Post-it note, so that way I don't have to do a whole lot of repair to the cake itself. Now, the cake itself will be white. The Christmas tree itself will be white. So I don't want... Oh, that one's going to end up there. Okay. Well, so if that one ends up there... All right, here we go. This is where we were going to run into it. All right, so I just put the Post-it note on the edge so that way it doesn't get into the white, and then it makes it on the outside. Same over here. I have one over here that I can put. And if I just put the Post-it note on the edge, then I can come in and put one there. And if you get a little bit over, like it was underneath the Post-it note, just grab a baby wipe. Sometimes it's hard to get baby wipes one-handed. They want to hang on to the... And just get it up with a baby wipe. You're going to have outlines along the edge anyway, or at least I like to outline most of this stuff. So I'm not too worried about that, but I do want to make sure that I get a good bit of it up. So that way, if anything, I'm just covering a little bit of almost a pink color rather than covering you know, all of a burgundy color. So, okay, so there, and then kind of one over here. Got him a little too far over, but that's okay. All right, so there. I'm going to fold that over so I don't get paint all over me. All right, there is our polka dots. Yay! So now we have polka dots on our Christmas tree. Merry and bright door hanger. That's what I need to say. Merry and bright door hanger, because that's what it's actually called. Now, I am going to go over this with another coat of white. And so what I'm going to do is just grab a brush and go over. No, that's a clean brush. I was like, was that the brush I just used? No, I used a different brush for that. So we're going to get some white and go over our tree. Now the tree is actually, it's white on top, but it actually has, because it is a cake, it actually has some color to the outside here, to the outer edge. So we'll get to that in just a minute, but I want to get the white filled in really bright. So I've got a base coat that I put on, but to make sure the white is covered really well and then it stands out and it's nice and bright, I always like to go back over it again. So just going back over my white one more time. And then what I'll do is I'll come down the side over here with the other color that will make up the cake. And you'll start to see that part take shape. All right, I'm not going to go far with the white. In other words, I'm not going to, scoop my white back into my bottle like I do sometimes. I'm going to leave that just in case I have to do any touch-ups. And also for the letters, because I think I am probably going to do the main part of the letter white, and then I may actually outline with green. And so it'll actually have the red and the green all tied together. Right now, I'm going to work on the outer edge of this cake. And so I'm going to use mocha on this outer edge. Now, there are icing lines, decoration lines on this edge as well. So I'm just going to go around them. So that way, and I probably should have grabbed a little bit smaller brush for this. Hindsight, Maybe with it getting fatter, it will work as the tree flares out. It'll be a little easier. It's kind of tight at the top, but seems to be a little easier now. All right, so I'm just going to come back up here because I had a little extra. And I don't really want that much at the top. Oop. Only thing about the bigger brush in the tighter spaces is that periodically you do manage to flick the brush and sling paint outside the area that you really want the paint in. So it's just good to keep the baby wipes handy. They are truly our best friend when we are working on projects like this. So working my way down the side. And you see it start coming to life a little bit as far as the different, how it's going to differ just a little bit. So I'll turn it around that way just a little more. May have to adjust my camera again. I felt like it was so far up in the air earlier, so I brought it down, but may have to pull it just a little bit more. Okay, so we'll blow dry this real quick, or dry this part real quick, and then we'll give it another coat. I'll pull the camera a little bit that way. Maybe it'll be a little easier to see as I'm working on the tree. Now, the thing with polka dots, I was just looking, sometimes when the little bubbles pop, it'll leave kind of a rugged look. Sometimes I go back over those with the paint that I used. So I would go back over them just with a small brush with the burgundy or crimson. Sorry, I used crimson on that. With the crimson. Or you can actually leave them where they are kind of bubbly and rough looking. Just depends on what look you're going for when you start working on your project. Sometimes I want nice, bold polka dots, and then sometimes the kind of rougher looking ones. Especially if it's something that I'm making it look like it's more bubbles than just polka dots, then to me that looks like it, it's just got a little air here and there that kind of adds to the character of the bubble. So just depending upon what you're working on, depends on whether or not you want a truly solid polka dot, or maybe an airy polka dot, if that's such a description for a polka dot. So I'm just getting back into a little bit, a few small little areas. And I went over just a little. There we are. Just making sure the paint comes up nice and tight. All right, so now we get to start on our icing. So that's always a cool part. Now what I'm going to do is use true red. So there's 3 different color reds on this door hanger so far. There is Santa red, which is the background, followed by crimson, which is the polka dots. And now on the Christmas tree itself, there will be true red. So let me look at one thing real quick on the tree. Yes. Okay, good. I wanted to make sure I got it right. All right, so I'm going to flip this around. Oh, good. You can still see. I was like, hopefully this will not get it to where you can't see what I'm doing. I'm going to get a filbert tip brush to use with this. Now, the filbert tip is simply a brush that has a rounded end to it. So it's a flat brush, as you can see, but the end is round instead of being flat. So it's not a truly flat brush. I could probably go just a fuzz bigger, but I'm like missing some of my filbert tip brushes or something. I think that's too big. Yeah, that's probably too big. All right, we'll go with this one. All right, so our stripes on our tree will be true red. And you'll start seeing everything take shape as I get these on there, because you'll go, oh yeah, look. Now, true red is one of those colors that you definitely have to put 2 coats on. Sometimes 3, just depends. I do have white underneath. Now, how in the world did I pull that off? I do have white underneath, so as the base. So it will probably take maybe 3 coats to get the color, the right shade that I'm looking for. We'll see. Sometimes it will surprise me. But I'm just following my etched lines and getting the little icing. This is going to make me hungry. I don't have any cake in the house. I'm going to want cake after doing this. So again, this is true red, and I am just following the lines that are the decoration or icing lines. Looks kind of like, the rope on the tree. Like I said earlier, I jumped on the bandwagon last year, but I was just like, really? This is a thing? Yeah, it's a thing. Apparently very popular and very big thing. I think we in the lower southern areas were kind of getting on the bandwagon last year, but we weren't quite as heavily on that bandwagon as some places north of us. It's like I'm saying, there was all kinds of t-shirts and jewelry and I also had some people tell me after Christmas, they were like, man, if I had known you had those. Like, okay, well, I'm going to do one for this year and put it out there and go, okay, I've got them again. Which, hey, I would have painted it after Christmas. One year when the nativities were so popular, I actually did nativities in January. People wanted to get them for the following year. So I actually did several nativity door hangers in January after I had posted those just before Christmas. I don't know, it may only take 2 coats. I'll step back and look at it in just a minute, but it's looking pretty good right now. We'll get this all good and dry, and then we get to add the sprinkles. See, I told y'all, we were all going to be hungry before this was over with. This would be a really cool paint party. Just hadn't even thought about that. That needs to be an idea that I, throw out there. Door hanger or ornaments, and this would be the dessert. That would be awesome. I would have a lot of fun with that one. So I'm just trying to get this good and dry right now, and then that way I can click over here. Let's see if it'll not freeze up a whole lot. It's this one. Okay. So I'm going to try and get this red really dry, so that way when I go to start putting the sprinkles on there, I won't be adding extra red that I don't need. I love this little heat gun thing. It's not actually, I call it a dryer. It's not a hair dryer, so it can't be used on hair or anything like that. It's actually a little heat gun, and it's for paint, and it's really, really cool. If I'm working on multiple door hangers at one time, I'll actually use this to speed up the process so I can get on to the next step. Because a lot of times what I'll do is I'll do an assembly line when I'm doing multiple orders of one thing. So I'll like paint all the Santa reds. I'll blow dry it a little bit or dry it a little bit, set it off to the side, grab the other one, do the Santa red. And so that way I'm staying consistent in my colors. All right, I have one little spot right here. It's like, all right, come on. Change direction. Maybe it'll help. Get him dry. And then what I'm going to do next, I am going to find, this may actually be a really good size brush. I'm going to use a true flat brush this time. So flat brush, flat end. And so that's what I'm going to be using to make the sprinkles. So actually that one, we'll see. I may have to get one of my other ones. I like the size of that one though. May have to see if I've got another one about this size. This one still has, this is one that I rinsed out. So the bristles are still a little on the damp side. And so what I don't want to do is have sprinkles that are all flared out. I want to have just some really nice little sprinkles. Okay, so sprinkles. How in the world am I going to do sprinkles? Well, hang on, I'll show you. It's a pretty cool process. Now, I am going to put just a little bit of green right beside my red. I know some of you are like, oh my goodness, this may be a catastrophe. No, not a catastrophe. We're going to watch. We'll be careful. All right, so I'm going to take my brush, and first I'm going to dip it in the red. See how my bristles are flared? Maybe you can see that. That is not going to make a very good, and that's what I was afraid of. Let's see here. Let me find a really, okay, that one, but it's big. I don't really need big. I need, Nope, that one's flared. I gotta have one that's kind of still sharp. That one's too small. Okay, we may have some really big sprinkles. I really wasn't wanting to go for big sprinkles, but we may have to. Because I'm afraid this one, if it were dry, this one might actually do it. I don't know. I might can get this one to do it. We'll try this one. This one, the bristles have come back together. So maybe I can get this one to do it. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to push it on the side to try to push the bristles kind of flat. And then add just a little more paint. And you can even try pinching the bristles together. So basically you're going to come way down on the brush. And then you're just going to put your brush down and just create just a little sprinkle. And you can have different size sprinkles and have them going in different directions. And so I'm just going to work my way down my cake here. That one did not come out so well. That's okay. He's an oversized sprinkle. Not every sprinkle will be perfect. We're not in this to be perfect. We're in this to create something fun. We're in this to have fun and create something cute. So keep that in mind. Not here to create perfect. There's only one who can create perfectly. And trust me, I am nowhere near his capabilities. All right, so we have our red sprinkles. Now let's get to our green sprinkles. So I'm just going to dry my brush off really well. And I'm going to go into the green and do the same thing. I'm just going to dip into the green, kind of push on the side a little to kind of push those bristles together. And then again, I can always kind of hold them together if I feel like it's not quite tight enough. Now the green ones, my red ones wouldn't have shown up too much on the red icing. So my green ones, I'm kind of putting just on the icing in between. I was going to try to go from the side and see if that would do a little better. Not really. So I'm probably just going to pinch the brush the rest of the way to try to help it. And I may come back and add some more red ones. I'm having a hard time holding the brush sideways while I'm trying to get this done. All right, let me flip this around and look at my sprinkles here. I still want some more sprinkles. Maybe not too many, but a few more. So I'm going to add a few more green. Just kind of tap here, tap there, and then come back with a few more red. Not too many green. But I do want to get a few more on the, maybe on the icing, part of the icing, things like that. I only have 2 reds there. How in the world did I pull that off? Well, that's one way to get a sprinkle on there. Actually, I could probably leave that. It didn't look really too bad, but unfortunately, he was close to the other one, and I'm like, oh, I don't want him that close. All right, so rinse the brush again. And then I'm going to dry it off. And I'm going to go back to the red and add just a few more red in. And then I will get started on the lettering. So now most of the red that I wanted to add is like down in this area. And again, yeah. I'm going to have to pinch the brush because it's getting to that point where it's not wanting, it's spreading too far apart. And I could come back with a different color green. I could add a darker green in with the red and the green, and it would have a little bit different variation. I could technically put a few white sprinkles on the icing part. So yeah, there's all kinds of possibilities you can do. So here's what it looks like with its sprinkles. So now I'm going to turn around this way and I'm going to work on the lettering. What I'm going to do first with the lettering to try to help a little bit with the mocha color is very, very close to the buttermilk, but I think I'm going to stick with buttermilk. A lot of times if I have to cover a dark color before I go and use white, I will use buttermilk. And it helps to break it up and get it to where I can put the white on there. All right, let's try using a round brush for this and see how this turns out. So this will not be the final color of the lettering. What I'm doing right now is just going over it with buttermilk. And I actually do have a buttermilk paint pen. It could make the process go a little faster. But most of the time, I feel like the paint itself covers just a little better than the paint pen in the case of the letters. And that's, all kind of a personal preference kind of thing. You can use one time and think, oh, yeah, this one covers better. And then you can use it again another time and think, well, it doesn't cover as well this time. So I think it all kind of depends on maybe the color you're trying to cover. In this case, it is Santa Red, so it is, a dark color. I'm going to try not to go off camera. But I've got to try to work from the side. Number one, so I can see my etch lines pretty good. And number two, so I don't run my hand through the middle of it. I unfortunately have done that more than once. And you have to remember the buttermilk is not your final color. So it's not like the buttermilk has got to be this perfect shade. All you're wanting to do is help the white so that you don't have to put as many coats of white. And I've discovered that buttermilk is a really good color for helping do lighter colored letters over darker colors. Some people prefer gray. Gray is another one. Gray tends to, I find, just me personally, gray tends to work better with red. But again, it just depends on your preference. What you've worked with and what you feel like works best. So I'm actually getting the Y in Mary. So I'll turn it around so you can see. So I'm actually getting finished with the Y in Mary. And then we'll move on to the and the bright. If you're watching on the replay, remember to put in hi, and you can put hashtag replay. So that way I'll know it's from the replay. And tell me where you're watching from if you're here in Mobile. Or if you're in Florida, Mississippi, or maybe you are more northward. All right, so there's our little and sign, in case you were wondering, what is that? That is our and sign for Merry and Bright. So I am just going to start from the bottom here. See if I can do this one without having to turn it to the side. Right now I can see the lines pretty good. Sometimes the lights and the way they're situated in my setup that I've got here, if the setup were a little different, it might not be this way, but sometimes the lights will kind of hit the door hanger in a way that I can't see the etch lines for my letters very well. And so I have to turn it sideways so that the light will hit it just right and I can see the etch lines. So that's why you see me sometimes turn things to the side or turn them around. Between that and not wanting to be covered in paint, it's a couple of good reasons to move the door hanger around. And I like doing door hangers on a Lazy Susan. I've got a little wheel under here, a little Lazy Susan type thing. And it comes in very handy, especially when, you know, you're doing door hanger orders and stuff. That way you can kind of turn them around without actually having to stop and pick it up and shift it around. I did that in the beginning and I thought there's got to be an easier way. And then I heard somebody talking about a Lazy Susan or a turntable. And I thought, oh yeah. So I ended up getting me one and it is wonderful because sometimes I'm painting and I can twist it around with one hand and keep right on painting without very much time delay, especially when getting orders ready, especially this time of year. Because, I mean, you know, fall and Christmas, that's always a very popular time for door hangers. And so this is the season where festivals and a lot of things are going on. And so there's a good bit of door hanger work that goes on around the country this time of year. And not just door hangers. I mean, that's just crafty stuff in general, wreaths and other home decor. This is just that time of the year. People thinking about, oh, you know, Aunt Susie loves candle holders, and, you know, Grandma loved the wreath that I bought her last year, and Aunt Jill really, really liked that door hanger. And so, you know, you start looking around and working on Christmas and then also Christmas parties. There's quite a few things that come up for Christmas parties. And so, things like the coffee mugs, I've got those priced. And sometimes I'll price kits and stuff for a Christmas special or with a Christmas special. So that way, they make really good gifts for the Christmas parties and all. All right, I've almost got our words finished up, and then all I'll have to do is go back over them. I think I'm going to do white and then probably outline in green. I did that once before. I really like the way that one turned out. I've done one of them I did with green lettering, and then one I did with white lettering, and I came back and did the outline with green. And I like the way that one turned out, so I'll probably do that one. Okay, so there's Merry and Bright. And again, it's in, I just went over it with the buttermilk color. So this is the buttermilk color. And what I'm doing, y'all may think I'm crazy. I don't like wasting. I like having paint available, but I don't like wasting, especially paints that I use a lot of colors of. So, or paints that I use a lot of. The color I use a lot of. Good grief. All right, so I like to save that. All right, I'm going to add a little more white to my white here. And I'm going to go over this real quick with the white. And then I actually have a green paint pen now. I purchased some paint pens that are in color, not just black and white. And so I may use the green paint pen and see how that looks. So I'm going to go over the letters with white now. And it'll still take 2 coats. So when you see it the first time and you're like, well, some of this is still showing through, or some of that's still showing through, it will take 2 coats. So that I am not worried about. Just going to get the first coat on here. That way you can see what it's going to look like as the white lettering. And while my lettering's drying, I can go and outline the Christmas tree. And you can see what that looks like finished. Coming up this week, what do I have coming up this week? I've got fall tumblers. Special going on with them right now. I'm drawing a blank. We'll be coming up on another opening of the Kids Art Club. I'm going to start doing probably a few openings through the fall months rather than just one. So I feel like that's such a small window for anybody to get really settled in or to get in on. So I think I'm going to do another opening of the Kids Online Art Club. And do a few months here in the fall. And then, of course, take a break over Christmas as far as openings go, because things will be busy for everybody, you know. And then after the first of the year, I may do 2 or 3 openings before the school year ends. Do maybe a pre-deal. Last summer, we actually took the summer off with art lessons, and so we didn't do art lessons over the summer because everybody was getting back in the swing of vacations and, just talking. I kind of felt like it was just a good choice for last year or this past summer, just to take a break. Let all the summer activities happen, vacations and swimming lessons and all that good stuff. So we picked back up in August with art lessons. And I did one opening of the club in September. And so I'm going to have another opening of the club here in October. And I'll probably do one more in November as a kind of, Christmas thing. Christmas gift kind of thing. And I may run a special on that one where you can either do sign up monthly or, do a whole year. And if you do, the rest of the year or a whole year, then the subscriptions taken care of, you can give that as a gift to your kids or your grandkids, or maybe a niece or a nephew. All right, so we're getting close to being finished with our white lettering. And you can see the difference between how the buttermilk just kind of, it's there and it's like, okay. But then once you put the white on there, then it just kind of pops out and it's like, hey, as the word says, that is bright. All right, almost there on the T, and we'll be done. And then we'll go outline our Christmas tree. Oh, the dot on the I. All right. Well, let's get our Christmas tree outlined, and I'm going to do this with a paint pen. So I'm going to get my black paint pen out, and I'll go ahead and get my white paint pen out. And so we're going to work our way around just getting our outline done on both the Christmas tree as well as the little icing lines. True blank. What are these called? Icing lines. All right, so I'm going to check my... Okay, good to go. Just wanted to check and make sure that it was... It was in good working order. So I'm just going to trace around. And then that way it separates and stands out, gives definition. To my Christmas tree cake. Like I said, I had a lot of fun doing these last year. And I did a few of them. So this is the first official one for this year. Now, the only thing on this is that once you start, you have to be careful not to cover your sprinkle lines. So you have to kind of watch where you've put your sprinkle lines. And I think on one of my door hangers, I did not put the black lines on the red. I just left it because the sprinkles I had were mostly across the lines, and I didn't want to have to try to go around them. So I did not highlight or outline the icing lines on one of the ones I did last year. Now, I just skipped over where I've got some of them, like this one here. I just skipped over it. And so I just brought it up to it and then skipped over it. And you can do that. It makes it, you don't have to draw a straight line or a outline on every single thing. Oop, I'm losing the flow of paint here. Let me come back over this one. Okay, good deal. And I probably should have skipped that one, but I did not. Okay, so now we have our Christmas tree well defined. And since we have that done, now I'm going to take some of the white and I'm just going to add a few little highlight marks on the icing part. So just add a few here and a few there. And you can also come down and do a few down the side of the cake as well. All right, so there's the Christmas tree part. I actually noticed one black line that I forgot. Did you catch it? It's in the very bottom corner down here. I actually forgot this little bitty line right there. So we got him taken care of. Okay, now I am going to try this with the green paint pen and we're going to see how this turns out. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go around my word lines and just kind of highlight them a little bit with this green. So we're going to see how this turns out. So this is going to be a very nice, I hope it is anyway. Oh yeah, it's a very nice green. So I'm going to turn this sideways so that I can just kind of go around. Now, like I said, I've done one of these with green around the edge. And then I did one with, it was green letters. And I came back and did white around the edge. All right, so I may go off camera just for a minute, but just hang on. I'm coming back around and I'll be back on in just a second as I make the loop. And then I'm going to come back around the other way. for the letters, which I probably should have started over here and come down so that way I don't stick my hand in the paint pen. This paint pen squeaks. My other paint pen doesn't squeak. All right, so, well, that's different. Different than the paint. Cool. All right, I'm going to hold off on the and sign. I'm going to go around bright real quick. So just tracing around the word bright. I'm going to stop right there and come back and hit all of these little inserts and around the eye. All right, on the home stretch. And the last little curve. All right, so there's Merry, Bright, and I could do gold. Let's see how the yellow looks. I'm not sure how this will turn out. I may have to pick a different color. Let's see. I don't know. I might have a new way of doing my Merry and Bright for this year. It'll make it look a little bit different from last year's that I did. So that's pretty cool. All right. Well, as far as around the edge goes, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in my polka dots one more time. I'll do that off camera. And then what I'm going to do is probably just do some little wave decoration around the edge. And then I will take pictures and post on probably Tuesday and let you see the finished product. All right. Well, thanks so much for hanging out with me tonight. Again, if you're watching on the replay, just put #replay. Tell me where you're watching from, because I kind of like to know who around, whether they're hometown folks or if they're in a neighboring state, or if you're, I don't know, maybe in Tennessee or West Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, wherever you may be from. I like to kind of know. And then it's kind of cool to see how far you reach. So I hope y'all have a great week. And next week, who knows? We might do fall. We might do Christmas. I might take a vote and see which y'all would rather watch me do. So thanks so much for watching. And again, see you next week.